Chronicles of Dren. Echo. The Path of the Celestial Night. Episode 1.
Amidst a vast canvas of space, a scene of dire confrontation unfolds. The celestial voyage, once a beacon of interstellar ingenuity, now lies battered and bruised, its silhouette marred by the brutal onslaught it has endured. Its hull, a testament to countless battles, is riddled with scars, each telling a silent story of survival against overwhelming odds. Inside, the cockpit is bathed in the ominous glow of warning lights, casting long shadows over the figure determinedly manning the controls. Crosstilan, with his features etched in grim resolve, commands the vessel with a veteran's expertise, his hands steady despite the chaos that reigns around him.
Arc 3! Channel all remaining power to the shields. We're not going down without a fight.
Arc 3, mounted externally on the ship's hull and communicating through the cockpit speakers, responds with a series of purposeful beeps and electronic words, a language of urgency understood only by Crosstilan. The droid, a steadfast ally in countless escapades, executes its directives with mechanical precision, its form a blur of motion against the backdrop of stars. An abrupt shudder courses through the ship as it suffers another punishing hit. Arc 3's urgent binary screams pierce the cockpit, a stark prelude to silence as a critical hit ends its service forever.
Arc 3! Hang on! No! Not like this!
The mocking voice of the pursuers crackles through the comms, their words cold and devoid of mercy.
Surrender now, Cypher. Your defiance is futile.
You'll get nothing but ashes and defiance from me!
Channeling his fury, Crosstilan pushes the celestial voyage into a daring assault, its weapons carving a path of destruction through the enemy ranks. Three ships are consumed by the inferno of his vengeance, but the cost is dear. The celestial voyage falters, its lifeblood draining rapidly away. Faced with the stark reality of his situation, Crosstilan makes a choice that speaks of courage and desperation in equal measure. He steers the crippled ship toward the foreboding expanse of the uncharted stars, a realm of legend and dread.
Madness, Cypher. The uncharted stars are a death sentence.
Then let it be my sentence. I'd rather embrace the unknown than surrender to you.
With the last whispers of power coursing through its veins, the celestial voyage surges forward, reaching the threshold into the unknown. Systems flicker and fade, the ship's heartbeat slowing as the gravitational embrace of Dren asserts its claim.
If this is where my story ends, then so be it.
The celestial voyage, battered and breathing its last mechanical breaths, hurtles towards the untamed wilderness of Dren. Inside the cockpit, Crosstilan, battered but unbowed, braces for impact. His hands grip the controls, fighting to maintain some semblance of stability as the ship screams through the atmosphere. Outside, the ship's exterior is ablaze with the fiery tongues of re-entry. A falling star descending upon an unsuspecting world. The once proud vessel is now a mere husk of its former self. Every system pushed beyond its limits, every alarm blaring in a cacophony of despair. Yet, amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope flickers. Arc 3, though critically damaged, initiates a final, desperate protocol. Its lights flicker in a rapid sequence, a binary farewell, before it channels the last reserves of power into the ship's emergency systems. Arc 3, through the cockpit speakers, in a series of urgent beeps. Translation:
Initiating emergency crash protocol. Brace for impact, Crosstilan.
The ship's engines, though faltering, roar to life one last time. The thrusters firing in a controlled burst to slow the descent. Reinforced anti-shock fields shimmer around the cockpit, a thin barrier against the brutal forces of nature. The ground rushes up to meet them. And, for a moment, the world is nothing but noise and chaos. Then, silence. The dust settles, revealing the crumpled form of the celestial voyage. The cockpit, against all odds, remains intact, a cocoon amidst the wreckage. Inside, Crosstilan stirs. The emergency fields flicker and fade, their energy spent. He opens his eyes, his vision blurred, and his body aching, but alive. Alive against all odds.
Arc 3. Thank you.
Silence claims the aftermath. Crosstilan lies amidst the wreckage, unconscious. The dimly lit chamber within the ancient abandoned temple resonates with a solemn atmosphere, the echoes of the past whispering through its crumbling stone walls. Here, Crosstilan, young and determined, stands before his mentor, an imposing figure belonging to the Tiburon race. This mentor, known as Master Krythar, possesses a presence as profound as the ocean depths, his humanoid shark features emanating wisdom and strength. Master Krythar, his voice deep and resonant, addresses Crosstilan with an unwavering gaze.
Now, tell me the oath, young one.
With a respectful nod, Crosstilan begins to recite the solemn words of the Solar Knights, his voice steady, yet filled with the weight of their meaning.
In the heart of tranquility, we stand serene. Faced with scorn, we answer with wisdom. Against fury, we hold our patience steadfast. In the midst of anarchy, we are the shield of order. We are the dawn's first light, the sun's embrace.
As the last words hang in the air, a moment of silence follows, the gravity of the oath settling over them like a sacred shroud.
Master Krythar, why must I study the ways of an order that no longer exists? We are ciphers, criminals in the eyes of the Sun Republic.
Young Crosstilan, the Solar Knights stood for more than just an order. They were the guardians of balance, the custodians of harmony in the universe. This current age, like all things, shall pass, but the principles they upheld, the light they cherished, must endure through us.
Their conversation is abruptly interrupted by the ominous sound of footsteps and a thunderous banging on the temple door. The command to open reverberates through the ancient stones, urgent and threatening.
By the order of Queen Zoelia X, I hereby order you to come out with your hands up, cipher scum. Any resistance will be met with swift execution.
Crosstilan and Master Krythar exchange a glance, a silent understanding passing between them. They had prepared for this moment, yet the premature breach of the door sends a jolt of urgency through their veins. Master Krythar turns to Crosstilan, his eyes reflecting the depth of a sea during a storm.
Crosstilan, my time to stand against the darkness has come, but yours is not yet upon you. Take this, a replica of my own radiant saber, and its crystal. Let them be your guardians in the path that lies ahead.
Crosstilan, his hand trembling as he takes the saber, feels its weight, not just in his palm, but in his soul. A rush of emotions threatens to overwhelm him, the urge to fight alongside his mentor, to defy the fates that seek to tear them apart.
Master, let me stand with you. Together we can—
No, Crosstilan. Your journey is not to end in the shadows of this forsaken place. You are the hope of the Solar Knights, the bearer of our legacy. You must survive, learn, and, when the time is right, reignite the light we have been safeguarding for so long.
Crosstilan's eyes, filled with the fire of youth and the pain of impending loss, meet those of his master.
Crosstilan, you have been more than just a squire to me. You have been the son I never had, the greatest joy of my old age. I have watched you grow, seen the potential you carry within you. You are, and always will be, the future of the Solar Knights. My heart swells with pride at the thought of what you will become.
The moment stretches, a lifetime of lessons, battles, and camaraderie hanging in the balance. But time, ever the relentless force, passes on, and the door begins to give way under the relentless assault of the Sun Republic's forces.
Now go, my son. Let the sun's light guide you, even in the darkest times. Remember the oath, remember our creed, and, most importantly, remember who you are. A Solar Knight, the dawn's first light.
With a final embrace, a transfer of unspoken words and shared memories, Master Krythar gently pushes Crosstilan towards the hidden passage. Turning to face the door, he ignites his radiant saber, the azure light painting his determined features in a glow of defiance and courage. As Crosstilan retreats into the shadows, he casts one last glance back, witnessing the silhouette of his master, a lone figure of valor standing against the impending tide. The dance of light and shadow, of sacrifice and undying spirit. Crosstilan, tears streaming down his face, navigates the labyrinthine passages, the sounds of the battle fading into a haunting silence. The weight of the radiant saber in his hand is a solemn reminder of the legacy he now carries. The promise of a future where the Solar Knights rise once more.
Thank you, Master. I will make you proud.
Crosstilan, his breath ragged and heart heavy, emerges from the darkness of the passage into the light of a new dawn. The memory of his master's final stand, the words of farewell, resonate within him, a beacon of hope in the uncertain journey that lies ahead. Crosstilan wakes up. Crosstilan slowly regains consciousness, his body heavy with pain, swathed in bandages. The rustic charm of the shattered mast offers a stark contrast to the starkness of his recent ordeal. A young woman whose human features are accentuated by an innate grace tends to his wounds with delicate hands. Her soft brown hair cascades over her shoulders like a waterfall of warmth, and her eyes, a vibrant green, hold the depth of the very forests of Dren.
You must be in so much pain. You fell from the sky, like a star choosing its home. Can you tell me your name?
Yes. I'm Crosstilan. And you are...
I'm Leora. Here, try this. It's not much, but it might help.
She hands him a bowl of sweet rolls, their aroma a blend of honey and warmth. A recipe not yet famous, but destined to become legend. Crosstilan takes a bite, the flavors an explosion of comfort, reminding him of worlds far away, yet feeling like home.
These are... incredible. Leora, I traveled far, but I never tasted anything like this. Thank you.
Leora, with her earnest green eyes reflecting a mix of concern and curiosity, gently nudges a plate of sweet rolls towards Crosstilan, who's still coming to terms with the abrupt transition from cosmic battlegrounds to this quaint, earthly refuge.
You really are from the stars, aren't you? I've only ever heard tales of star travelers and the old stories my grandmother used to tell.
Yes, it's, a long journey. Across galaxies and dangers you wouldn't believe.
What's it like out there?
It's vast, beautiful, and terrifying. All at once. There are nebulas that paint the darkness with colors you've never seen. and black holes that threaten to swallow even the bravest of souls.
And yet, you traverse these wonders and horrors. For what? What drives a star traveler?
Duty once. A quest to protect the balance of the universe. But now I'm not so sure. To be honest, there are moments when the stars feel more like a prison than a home.
Perhaps then, this unexpected fall was a gift. A chance to find new purpose, or to rediscover what you once believed in.
The warmth of her touch seems to anchor Crosstilan, offering a momentary respite from his inner turmoil. The tavern, with its wooden beams and the soft chatter of patrons, feels more welcoming, more grounding than the cold expanse of space ever did.
Maybe you're right, Leora. In all the cosmos, I never expected to find a guiding star like you in a place like this.
Then, let the shattered mast be your constellation for now. Rest, heal, and when you're ready, share your tales with us. Every star has a story, and I'd like to hear yours.
Their conversation, a gentle dance of words and shared glances, continues into the night, drawing them into a camaraderie that feels as ancient as the stars, yet as fresh as the dawn. In Leora's kindness and Crosstilan's quiet strength, a bond begins to form, subtle and profound, like the music of the cosmos. As they speak, Leora assists Crosstilan to the bar, her touch light yet firm, ensuring he doesn't falter. There, they meet the tavern's tiefling bartender. His horns intricately carved and eyes a deep, mesmerizing violet, nods at Crosstilan, offering a tankard of ale. Zephyr, leaning against the bar with an easy grin, broke the silence first, his voice laced with a playful undertone. "I thought the sky was falling last night. Didn't realize humans had such a flair for dramatic entrances." Crosstilan, still nursing his wounds, let out a laugh, though it was cut short by a grimace of pain. Despite the discomfort, there was a spark of amusement in his eyes as he played along with the tiefling's light-hearted banter.
Well, I've always been told I know how to make an entrance. I just didn't plan it to be so literal.
Zephyr, noticing Crosstilan's effort to engage despite his condition, decided to ease into more informative discourse, sensing the star traveler's underlying thirst for knowledge about his new, unexpected haven. "You're in the town of Gale's End, a humble place known more for its fishermen than its star-fallen visitors, but it's the proximity to the Sea of Corpses that gives this town its, character." Crosstilan's brow furrowed in curiosity.
Sea of Corpses? It's a real interesting name.
It's said the waters there are haunted by the souls of sailors and pirates alike. Treacherous tides and the promise of riches lure the greedy and the brave, but not all who sail those waters return to tell the tale. The conversation was briefly interrupted as Zephyr poured another drink for a patron, but Crosstilan's mind was elsewhere. His gaze inadvertently drifted towards Leora, who was attending to another table. There was a sense of gratitude in his eyes, a silent acknowledgement of her role in saving his life. It was more than just gratitude, though. There was a depth to his gaze that spoke of something budding, something unspoken. Zephyr, ever the observant bartender, caught the look and couldn't resist commenting, a knowing smirk playing on his lips. "Stare any harder and you might just scare her away, my starstruck friend." Crosstilan snapped out of his reverie, a faint blush colouring his cheeks. He opened his mouth to retort, but the words were lost in the laughter that filled the space between them. A laughter that was warm, welcoming, and, for Crosstilan, a reminder that perhaps this strange new world held more for him than just refuge. It had possibilities, new connections, and maybe, just maybe, a chance at something resembling a fresh start. The moment of tranquility is shattered as the door swings open, revealing a duo of menacing figures. They stride in, their presence demanding attention, their eyes fixed on Zephyr.
Time to pay up, Zephyr. We're here for the protection money.
Gentlemen, please, I assure you, I'm good for it. Just need a bit more time, that's all. Business has been slow, but it'll pick up. The bandits, unperturbed by his pleas, continued in their ominous circling, their eyes scanning the room for objects to vandalize or patrons to harass. The lead bandit, a hulking dragonborn with scales that shimmered a menacing crimson, sneered at Zephyr's pleas.
Time's a luxury you can't afford, Zephyr. We've been lenient. You wouldn't want us to get creative with our methods, would you?
Zephyr's eyes darted around, searching for a way out of the situation. But the bandits were relentless. Their threatening presence filled the room, their disdain for the tavern and its occupants evident in every sneer and snicker. Just as the tension reached its peak, Leora, her spirit as fiery as her heart was kind, stepped forward. Her voice, usually gentle and melodic, now carried a fierce undertone of defiance.
You're nothing but cowards, picking on those who can't fight back. Is this what you've become? Bullies preying on the helpless.
Her words struck a chord, and for a moment the room held its breath. The Dragonborn, taken aback by her audacity, quickly regained his composure, his eyes narrowing into slits of malice. He took a step towards Leora, a smirk playing on his lips as he attempted to flirt with her, his voice dripping with insincerity.
Well, what do we have here? A little firebrand with spirit. Why don't we...
Leora's response was swift and decisive, her hand connecting with his cheek in a resounding slap. The sound echoed through the tavern, a testament to her unwavering courage. But the Dragonborn's reaction was swift and brutal. With a growl of rage, he retaliated, his hand striking her with such force that she crumpled to the ground, unconscious. In that singular, suspended moment, the atmosphere in the shattered mast shifted palpably. The sound of the Dragonborn's hand connecting with Leora's cheek resonated through the tavern like a harbinger of a storm. As she crumpled to the ground, a hush fell over the room. But for Crosstilan, time seemed to stand still. The sight of Leora, kind and brave Leora, lying motionless on the floor, ignited a visceral, seething rage within him. In his mind, a tumultuous whirlwind of emotions raged. Leora, who had shown him nothing but kindness, who had eased his pain with her gentle touch and her warmth, now lay victim to the senseless brutality of a thug. The Dragonborn had dared to mar the visage of innocence and compassion, and in doing so, had awoken a force he was utterly unprepared to reckon with. The Dragonborn, still smirking over his show of dominance, turned back to face the room, oblivious to the storm he had stirred within the seemingly subdued stranger. Crosstilan rose. The energy within him coalesced. In a heartbeat, he closed the distance between him and the Dragonborn, his movements a blur to the onlookers. The impact, when it came, was cataclysmic. Crosstilan's fist, charged with the essence of eldritch might, connected with the Dragonborn's jaw with the force of a meteoric collision. The Dragonborn's massive frame was hurled through the air like a ragdoll caught in a tempest. The remaining bandits, their confidence shattered by the unexpected and explosive display of power, recoiled in a mix of fear and disbelief. The patrons of the shattered mast, moments ago paralyzed by fear, now murmured in awe and newfound hope. Crosstilan, his chest heaving with exertion and righteous indignation, stood amidst the chaos he had wrought. His gaze swept the room, daring any who remained to challenge the tempest that had just been unleashed. But in his heart, there was only one thought, a vow forged in the crucible of his fury.
Never again will he or anyone harm Leora. Not while I draw breath under these stars.
The tension in the tavern hung thick as the remaining bandit, his bravado now replaced with a tremble of fear, pleaded with Crosstilan for mercy. Please, we didn't mean no harm. We're just following orders, that's all.
Leave, and take your friend with you.
Without waiting for a response, Crosstilan turned his back on the bandit, his focus solely on the unconscious Leora. The bandit scurried outside, dragging his fallen companion away from the scene. Carefully, Crosstilan cradled Leora in his arms, his celestial powers manifesting as a warm, golden glow that enveloped her. The energy pulsated gently, caressing the wound on her face, the soothing warmth knitting her skin back together and breathing life back into her. Leora's eyelids fluttered open, confusion and relief mingling in her gaze as she found herself staring into Crosstilan's concerned eyes.
What happened?
Zephyr, leaning against the bar with a mixture of awe and amusement, chimed in. Well, let's just say the star fell right into our little tavern here and lit up the night. This fine gentleman here turned out to be a knight, and you, Leora, played your part in awakening him. Leora, now fully conscious, met Crosstilan's gaze, a silent understanding passing between them. Gratitude and something deeper flickered in her eyes.
Thank you. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been here.
It's moments like these that remind us we're not alone. I'll always be here to ensure your safety, just as your kindness has illuminated my path. I'm glad you're safe, Leora.
The tavern, which had been holding its breath, erupted in cheers and laughter. Zephyr raised his glass, a twinkle in his eyes. To the Celestial Knight, our very own celestial guardian, may your light guide us through the darkest nights. The tavern joined in the toast, their voices merging into a chorus of celebration. Hours pass. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a pale glow over the tavern. Crosstilan stood outside, his silhouette a steadfast monument against the encroaching darkness. The night air was charged with tension, a prelude to the impending confrontation. The bandits arrived with thuggish bravado, the Dragonborn's face a swollen testament to Crosstilan's previous intervention. They moved with a false confidence, their numbers bolstering their courage.
Looks like you didn't learn your lesson, Star Knight. This time, we've brought enough muscle to squash you like the bug you are.
Crosstilan's gaze didn't waver, his voice calm, yet infused with an unyielding resolve.
You're the ones who haven't learned. This tavern, these people, they're under my protection, and I won't let the likes of you terrorize them any longer.
With a sneer and a wave of his hand, the Dragonborn bandit signaled his cronies to attack. Weapons drawn, they charged with reckless abandon, certain of their numerical superiority. But Crosstilan was unshaken. As the first bandit lunged at him, he raised a hand, channeling his celestial powers. The assailant stopped mid-charge, held in place by an unseen force, his eyes wide with shock and fear.
I warned you, but you chose this path. Now let me show you why that was a mistake.
In one swift motion, Crosstilan drew his radiant saber, the azure blade humming to life, casting ethereal shadows across the ground. The air vibrated with the power of the weapon, its glow a stark contrast to the darkness that surrounded them. One by one, the bandits attacked, only to be met with the precise, controlled strikes of the Celestial Knight. Crosstilan moved like a spectre through the night, his saber a blur of blue light. Each clash of metal rang out, a symphony of battle echoing into the night. He disarmed his foes with grace, each movement deliberate, each strike meant to incapacitate, but not to kill. The sound of metal clattering to the ground was accompanied by the groans of bandits as they nursed broken bones and battered pride. As the last of the bandits fell, Crosstilan stood alone, the azure light of his saber illuminating his resolute stance. The tavern's patrons peered through the windows, their faces a mix of awe and gratitude. Crosstilan deactivated his saber, the night reclaiming its silence. He looked at the defeated bandits, his voice carrying a final warning.
Let this be a lesson. The Celestial Knight watches over this place, and as long as I'm here, you will find no quarters!
With that, Crosstilan turned and walked back to the tavern, leaving the bandits to contemplate their folly under the watchful gaze of the moon. And Dren would remember the Celestial Knight defended the innocent and cast out the shadows with the light of his blade. As the last of the bandits retreated into the shadows of the night, nursing their wounds and shattered pride, the tavern's atmosphere shifted from tension to an almost palpable sense of relief and admiration. The patrons, who had watched the skirmish unfold with bated breath, now emerged from their hiding places, their eyes wide with a mixture of awe and gratitude. Zephyr, the tiefling bartender, approached Crosstilan, his expression a mix of disbelief and respect. The destruction left in the wake of the battle was evident, but so was the undeniable bravery and skill of the Celestial Knight. I must say, I was hoping you'd punch yourself into a pot of gold to pay for that new wall, but after what you did here tonight, I think we can call it even. Crosstilan offered a small, wry smile, his gaze drifting to Leora, who was now fully recovered and standing beside him. The warmth in his eyes spoke volumes of the gratitude and protective instinct that had surged within him when she was in danger.
What you did. Nobody has ever stood up for us like that. Thank you, Crosstilan.
I couldn't stand by and watch. Not after everything you've done for me since I fell from the stars.
Fell from the stars, huh? You sure brought the sky down on those ruffians. I guess we've got our very own Celestial Knight now. The tavern erupted in laughter and cheers, the patrons raising their glasses in a toast to the hero of the hour. Crosstilan looked around, feeling a sense of belonging he hadn't expected to find in this strange new world.
I may have come from the stars, and my journey here was by chance, but know this. I am a Solon Knight, sworn to protect and uphold the light. As long as I draw breath, this place, these people, you are under my protection. That I swear!
The declaration resonated through the tavern, and the patrons responded with a renewed round of cheers and applause. The Celestial Knight had made his stand, not only defending the tavern, but also pledging his commitment to safeguard this newfound haven. As the night wore on, the story of the Celestial Knight's bravery spread like wildfire, a tale of valor and protection that would soon become legend in the world of Dren. And at the heart of it all was Crosstilan, the Solar Knight, a beacon of hope in a land that had seen too much darkness.